Earnings out after the closing bell this evening from Dow component Intel. Even with shrinking sales of personal computers, net income at the world's top chipmaker last quarter rose 6% to more than $2.5 billion, and revenue was slightly higher than expected. But Intel did miss forecasts on earnings per share by a penny at 51 cents a share. As for the stock, shares fell initially on that report. Seema Modi joins us now from the NASDAQ exchange with more on Intel. Seema, good evening. And what's the most important takeaway you see in Intel's latest quarterly profit report?
Well, Tyler, Intel is not expecting a big jump in sales this year. I think that's one of the big key takeaways. Intel's revenue guidance for 2014 came in lower than street expectations. There have been ongoing concerns about Intel adapting to the shift in the marketplace from PCs to smartphone and tablet demand, although Intel's management did mention that there were signs of stabilization in the PC segment and financial growth from a year ago. It's also putting more focus on supplying chips to the growing smartphone and tablet market. Intel recently said it plans to sell 40 million chips for tablets in 2014. The big question is, will this all result in bigger sales for Intel?
All right, Seema Modi reporting from NASDAQ for us tonight. Thanks, Seema.
And joining us now to talk more about Intel and what to expect from other tech companies when they report their earnings next week is Kim Forrest. She's senior equity analyst at Fort Pitt Capital Group. Tell us, Kim, what you think of Intel. What was your take? You just heard what Seema Modi reported. Do you agree with what she said?
I do. I was pleasantly surprised to see that they beat on earnings. That really hasn't happened in a while. They also had very good margins. And I think most of the penny miss was in the below the operating line, probably in taxes and maybe a little bit of spending in R&D. But I don't think it was that big of a deal, the earnings miss, and it was a good mix of revenue from PCs, the server group, and even the newer chips that are going into tablets.
Has Intel, Kim, been nimble enough in adjusting to a new environment?
No, and they were punished accordingly. You know, a couple years ago when it was pretty clear that the consumer PC market was going to crater in favor of more mobile devices. You know, it took them a very long time to come out with products and technologies that were exciting enough to be included in design plans of the makers of tablets and phones. However, I believe they have done really great in trying to catch up. They have some really great technology, and I think that we're going to see in 2014 more design wins that Intel's going to be able to report.
Kim, we have a number of other tech companies that are reporting over the next couple of days, and a lot of people have been saying that, you know, these tech earnings are going to be really good, but the companies reporting next week have some of their own problems to deal with.
Right.
I want to talk to you first about Microsoft, which is reporting on January 23rd. We know they're in a CEO search. They're changing their Windows 8 operating system reportedly to Windows 9. What can we expect Microsoft to tell us next week?
Well, I think the big focus next week is going to be on Xbox sales because that was, you know, just in this last quarter. It was a new product for them. And even though the number of people that are interested in owning a console is probably down, I still think that they have a great market share in their core market. And they're going to be able to report some pretty good numbers. The CEO search is incredibly important, and an update would be nice, but I don't think that will be forthcoming. And again, PC sales and how it's impacting them in the long run, that's always a focus as well.
Give me a quick thought on IBM also reporting next week. How's Big Blue likely to do?
Big Blue, I think they are strong in the U.S. still. But the big question mark over IBM for us is China. China has really been an area of growth for them, and I think everybody who is selling big complex machinery and big complex systems in China, there's a question mark over those numbers at this time as the one regime transitions to another. So it's going to be an interesting time for them.
All right. It's an interesting week coming up. Thank you so much for getting us ready for it. Thanks a lot, Kim.
Thanks for having me.
Kim Forrest with Fort Pitt Capital Group.